Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Okay, welcome. Thank you for being here. I truly appreciate your participation in this channel. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I hope it finds you in good health and secure. No small feat these days in this crazy world we're living in. Sifu Sylvain with you again. We're going to continue with this Gosho that we've begun on revealing the spiritual contemplation and the most venerable one, and the self-practice of the Lotus Sutra. We left off with the question and answer on reflected mirrors, seeing our physicality versus our experience. And we're going to continue with the next question, which states, I do not dare question what the Lotus Sutra says and how Tendai and his disciple Chang'an interpreted it regarding the, quote, mutual possession of 10 realms, end quote. All right, we've talked at length so far about these 10 worlds, 10 realms, realms being, I think, a better word, a better translation of the concept. They're places in the mind, not in physical geography, right? However, they sound as though they are saying that fire is water and black is white. I'm not sure what the confusion is there, but it is difficult to understand, although I believe this is what the Buddha preached. Now, no matter how many times we look at each other's faces, we see only a human being, not anything of other realms. Well, I guess maybe in Nichiren's day, there are probably people who would say that today. But, I mean, how many people do you know could say that by looking in another human being's face, they don't sense an emotion, a state of mind? You ever ask anyone around, what's bothering you? You look confused. You look frustrated. You look sad. You look angry, right? That's not just merely facial expression. Those facial expressions indicate a state of mind, right? So, I don't know, this is kind of an ignorant question, but let's see where he goes with it. It is the same with our own face. How is it possible to believe, quote, the mutual possession of the 10 realms doctrine? In other words, this question is saying, okay, we have all these realms that our mind is constantly navigating through, making choices about in every single thought moment. We're from hell to Buddhahood, and from the Buddhahood of Buddhahood to the hell of Buddhahood to the learning of realization and the bodhisattva of animality. We're just all over the place. But that I don't find so easily seen in the physical world of looking at a face. Okay, I can understand the question a little bit more nuanced now, all right? So here's Nichiren's answer. As we often look at each other's faces, we notice our facial expression changes from time to time. It's full of delight, anger, or calm sometimes, exactly what I was saying. But other times it changes to greed, ignorance, or flattery. Anger represents hells, different types of hells, different, right? Hells being highly discomfortable. Greed represents hungry spirits, right? The world of hunger, insatiable. No matter what you do for me, it won't be enough. Ignorance represents beasts, right? I don't know any better. I'm just trying to one-up you. I'm better than you. You're not better than me, right? Both sides. Flattery represents asura demons. In other words, it's all manipulation. Whether you even realize you're doing or you're being the subject of it, flattery is just manipulating, using the ego for alternative purposes. Delight represents gods, right? When you're overjoyed about something, you feel as though nothing can affect you, which is also an illusion. And calm represents humans. Oh, no, let's not disturb the waters. Let's not change anything. Right? That's not a great state. There have been many attempts in spiritual circles of different sorts, even different teachings, if you will, of trying to achieve calm. But calm is a retrogression. Calm denies the fact that we're constantly in motion, moving, momentum. Calm is not the higher state some would have us think it is. It's actually a state of no progress, no evolution, no coming into your enlightened state. It stops you cold. So, thus we, and so represents humans. That's a realm called nin, right, of no movement. Thus we see in the countenance of people 6 realms of illusions, from hells to realms of gods. We cannot see 4 realms of the more highly accomplished realms of the mind, like Sravaka, Pratyeka Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and Buddhas. Those aren't evident in characteristics of the face. In other words, physical clues. At very least, far more difficult to discern, right? Which are hidden from our eyes. Nevertheless, we should be able to see them too if we look for them carefully. Next question. It is not entirely clear that the 6 realms of illusion exist in the realms of human beings, but I'm beginning to think that they seem to, as I listen to you. Nevertheless, I cannot see the 4 realms of the holy ones, the highly evolved mind realms, at all. What do you say about this? Well, he already told you it takes careful study. And so his answer, you doubted the existence of the 6 realms of illusion in the realm of men, but I tried hard to explain it until you said you seemed to understand it. The same might happen with the 4 realms, the 4 higher realms, right? Therefore, I shall try to explain as much as possible what the sutra states, supplemented with reason. I appeal to your analytical mind, your reasonable mind. We see the so-called principle of impermanence everywhere in front of our eyes. We humans understand this principle through which 2 groups of Hinayana sages, 2 vehicles called Sravaka and Pratyeka Buddha, learning and realization, try to obtain enlightenment, the stage of arhats. How can we say then that the realms of the 2 Hinayana sage groups are not included in the realm of men? right? Are these not men attempting to achieve these realms? If those realms don't exist, which is what you're implying by saying you can't see them in the face, then what are these men doing? We give them credit for achieving something, right? So it must be there. Moving on. A man, no matter how inconsiderate he may be, loves his wife and children. It shows that he is partly in the bodhisattva realm, the only realm contained in the realm of men and yet hard to see is that of Buddhas, truly. However, since we see 9 other realms included in the realm of human beings, we can conjecture that the realm of Buddhas is also contained therein. Since we can reason that these people of great learning and realization work toward the idea of bodhisattva to gain enlightenment, then certainly we have to say, since we see all of these realms, that to claim a 10th as a perfection of such things logically dictates that that must exist too, even though I can't perceive it or see it for myself. It doesn't deny the existence of it, right? This is the reason part. You should firmly believe this and have no doubt about it. On the existence of the realm of Buddhas contained in the human realm, the Lotus Sutra states in the second chapter, the Expedience, that the purpose of Buddha's appearing in the world was, quote, to cause all living beings to open the gate to the insight of the Buddha. And in the Nirvana Sutra, quote, we come across a passage which states, quote, though having only a human eye, those who study Mahayana Buddhism are regarded the same as having the Buddha eye because they see the truth of Buddhism, what the goal is of Buddhism entirely. The reason why we ordinary people, born in the latter age, can put our conviction in Myoho Renge Kyo, in the Lotus Sutra, is that the realm of Buddhas is included in the realm of human beings. If it were not, what are we doing? We wouldn't even know about it. How could we study Buddhism, attaining Buddha, if there were no Buddha? What are we doing? And remember, Buddha is not outside ourselves. Again, I remind you, in Buddhism, everything's going on here in the mind. It's just a matter of awakening, that going through that gate and awakening to our maximal potential, our realization that we are a flow of energy with all the flows of energy, that we are part of the engine of life that is the universe. There's no other. Yeah? Question. The Buddha's words on the mutual possession of 10 realms doctrine are all clear. I get it. I get the words. I get what Shakyamuni was explaining. I get, because of your elucidation, Tendai's elucidation, Dengyo's elucidation, I get how all those are congruent, that they all represent the words of Shakyamuni. But it is difficult to believe that the realm of Buddha is contained in our vulgar minds. Well, yeah, I get that. You know, you live any amount of time. I don't care if you're a teenager or a young adult or an old man or woman. With everything we've experienced in life, our behaviors, our regrets, it's hard to imagine that in all of that, there's an enlightened being. I get that question, yeah. However, if we do not believe in this now, there's no doubt that we will become ichantika. The proposition being, if we can't reason in our own mind that there is Buddha enlightenment that we can instantiate, that's ready and waiting for us to just awaken to, then we're bound to become people who just will never believe. We'll be stuck in our earthly samsaric suffering world. Men without Buddha nature and will never attain Buddhahood. Why bother? It's not a real thing, yeah? We beseech you, please, to have great compassion and help us believe this and save us from falling into the hell of incessant suffering, which I've already described to you. The hell of incessant suffering is the universe, life. Not because it, by its very nature, is suffering, but because of the very energy that brings together this being is attached to being, then it is attached to everything. That very formula begets stress and anxiety about hanging on, right? Getting more, staying here. And yet we need that, because why else would we feed ourselves or try to reproduce and keep ourselves going into the future? It's in all literature, right? Every man wants his legacy through time. Got to make more of me. Every woman wants to be the producer of that history and future history. It's in our DNA, yeah? So there's very good reason for that, the way that momentum wants to stay in momentum. But if that's all we understand about our existence, we miss the greater glory that is the engine of life. And by shifting our minds to that perspective, all of the stress and anxiety about being, maintaining, holding on to, it's just part of the great engine. We have the opportunity to experience it at its most phenomenal without stressing about getting there, hanging on to, not losing. Those are illusions. It's always happening. So incessant suffering is not understanding that. All that suffering, anxiety, so on, melts away when you do understand. Answer: you cannot believe even those words of the Lotus Sutra preaching the very reason why Buddhas appeared in the world. In other words, instantiations of Buddha, right? When you awaken your Buddha mind, or Buddha in your mind, that is a Buddha in the world. That's what that means. How can those who are ranked below the Buddha, such as the 4 ranks of Bodhisattva teachers to whom people turned for guidance after the death of the Buddha, and those of us in the latter age who are still at the stage of not being aware of Buddha nature, save you from being non-believers? What can I say? It's something you only can experience for yourself, right? Nevertheless, I shall try, because there were some who could not attain Buddhahood under the guidance of the Buddha, but were enlightened by men like Ananda. So there's a demonstration throughout the sutras that even if Buddha, and the embodiment of Buddha and Shakyamuni, couldn't reach you, couldn't inspire you to reach for Buddha, there were other teachers that weren't Buddhas. They were bodhisattvas, arguably, very wise practitioners of Buddhism who were able to penetrate the mind of ordinary people and make them aspire to Buddha in their minds. So this is a discussion that centers around Sangha, what you and I are doing right now, trying to inspire one another to have the deep confidence and resolve that, yes, single-mindedly, I can instantiate Buddha in my mind. It's the very fabric of the universe, and I am part of that universe. So how can it be kept from, outside of, insulated from me? I'm part of the universe. This is the engine of the universe. Let me experience that. Not let me, like, again, a prayer, but let me, talking to myself, hey, hello, instantiate Buddha. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. That's the Namu part. Yeah? After all, man's capacity to understand and believe the teachings of the Buddha can be of two kinds. Okay? First, there are those who attain Buddhahood by seeing the Buddha in person and listening to him preach the Myoho Renge Kyo. Secondly, there are those who attain Buddhahood by means of the teaching of the Myoho Renge Kyo without seeing the Buddha. Because seeing the Buddha isn't the point. Being the Buddha is the point. Seeing the Buddha, again, I wish the translations would make this clearer. Seeing the Buddha is seeing Buddha manifest in someone else, and in this case, Shakyamuni. Seeing that he was a man able to instantiate this higher mind state is evidence that, hey, I'm no different than him. Why not me, right? Moreover, some Taoist teachers in China before the introduction of Buddhism and non-Buddhist masters in India before the rise of Buddhism grasped the right insight of Buddhism by means of Confucianism or the four Vedas. Also, there are many bodhisattvas and ordinary people with superior capacities for comprehension and conviction whose good luck of having listened to such Mahayana sutras as the Flower Garland Sutra, Hodo Sutras, and Wisdom Sutras caused sudden blooming of the seed of Buddhahood planted in them by Daitsuchiso, the great universal wisdom Buddha, 3,000 dust particle kalpas ago, or by Shakyamuni Buddha, 500 dust particles kalpas ago. For example, Hinayana sages called Pratyeka Buddha suddenly realized the principle of emptiness by looking at a flower petal flying in spring or tree leaves falling in autumn. This is how some attain enlightenment by means other than the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. So I remember a question by a student. Is the Lotus Sutra, Myoho Renge Kyo, the only path to enlightenment? Well, no, that's not the point. The point is that the Myoho Renge Kyo, that Namu to Myoho Renge Kyo, to invoking Myoho Renge Kyo, is the singular, most easiest, most universal, anyone can do it, immediate and perfect invocation of Buddha. That's why the Lotus Sutra is so important. It's a self-practice of instantiating Buddha in our mind. Now, there are other practices, these earlier practices of Buddhism, that eventually, if you are of the right capacity to have the epiphanies about the nature of life, you can get there. But the percentage of people who do those practices, study those practices, and contemplate those practices is very low. So no, we can't say chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo is the only way. But we can definitely say this was the point of Shakyamuni's teachings. The point was everybody, no matter what their state, their starting state, their caste, their situation, their relative intelligence, their worldliness, their experience, everybody, any living, or for that matter, non-sentient, right? Life form can invoke, not just wait for, like it comes from somewhere else, but get that in their own mind. Click. I get it. Because that's where Buddhism resides, in the mind. And Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, is the way of self-practice for immediate instantiation. Living with that invocation, living with that Buddha in your mind, that's a matter for you and your samsaric existence to negotiate. And when you drop out of that Buddha mind, then where are you? The hell of incessant suffering, right? And it's just a perceptual switch. On the other hand, he continues, those who never had a chance of receiving the seed of Buddhahood in the past, or those who attached themselves to the provisional or Hinayana sutras, are unable to get rid of Hinayana and provisional views, even if they came across the teaching of the Lotus Sutra, insisting that their own views are right. They mistakenly considered the Lotus Sutra to be equal to the Hinayana Sutras, or equal or even inferior to such as the Flower Garland Sutra and the Great Sun Buddha Sutra, right? This is what he's dealing with in his own time, and this is what human beings do. This is the nature of our attachment. We find something that seems to work, and when somebody shows us something far superior, nope, what I'm doing works. You're full of crap. I won't believe you. You don't know what you're doing. This works. I know. The stubbornness of our attachments is astounding. This happens everywhere, not just Buddhism, right? You have a friend who does something in an awkward way, and it doesn't produce great results, and it frustrates that person, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, somebody you know, a boss, right? Someone you work with. And so you feel inspired. Your bodhisattva wells up and goes, if you just do this, and how many times in your life has that other person gone, who do you think you are? You think you're better than me. Oh, it's not about our ego. I was just trying. Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. Go on, be frustrated. Oh, see, you do think you're better than me. No, I'm trying to show you a far easier way to do what you're doing. I'm trying to help you. They don't want to hear it, right? Well, the same is true in Buddhism. People are out there practicing Hinduism and Jainism and all sorts of isms. And they may be getting something out of it, but they're not going to be enlightened out of it. They're not going to awaken their Buddha mind. They're just entertaining themselves and stuck in these loops. You want to free yourself from all of that. This is the reason Siddhartha started this in the first place. He could see that in his day, in India, folklore and stories and sorcery and deifications, and oh my goodness, India today is still that way. So full of mysticism, and people in general had lost all identity because everything that moved in their life was due to forces out of their control that they could only appeal to. It's a very religious, mystical, magical kind of thinking that you are never in control of your own life, that other things are in control. When the truth is, we are the pinnacle of what is life. We are the ones in control. We can't change the orbit of the planets. True. but we are of the same energy. And the planet that we are in full control of. There's a tremendous amount of momentum that's moving us through time. And if we just stay in that momentum, we will suffer, we will have stress, we will, and we'll expire, and that'll be it. But we have an opportunity here. This is the great opportunity of a sentient lifespan. It says, hey, you're here for a little while anyway. How about you see with the entirety of your karma, your life potential, and you instantiate it, and you see how all of it works and how it all fits together. De-stress. You don't need to be stressed. Your life is simply moving through all of this. If you could perceive it that way, what then might it look like? What then might that experience be? That is the motivation for Buddha, for that perceptive experience. Moreover, some Taoist teachers, blooming. On the other hand, those who never had a chance of receiving the seed of Buddhahood in the past, or those who have teach themselves provisional Hinayana, are unable to get rid of it because they're stubbornly attached, right? These masters themselves are inferior to Confucian in Buddhist sages. I shall put this aside for now. However, because it has no direct connection to the mutual possession of the 10 realms, which, by the way, that's what we're talking about, doctrine. The mutual possession of the 10 realms, doctrine, is as difficult to maintain as it is to see fire in a rock and flowers in wood. However, it is not totally impossible because rocks spark when struck together and a tree blooms in spring. It is most difficult to believe that the realm of Buddhas is contained in the realm of men, because it is just like saying that fire is in water or water is in fire. However, it is said that a dragon fire comes out of water and dragon water comes out of fire. Expedient means, right? This is difficult to believe, but we cannot help but believe it because of the evidence for this. You have come to believe that each of the 8 realms is contained in the realm of men. Why can you not believe that the realm of Buddhas, too, is contained in it? Ancient Chinese rulers, sages such as Yao and Shun, treated all people equally with compassion, proving the existence of the realm of Buddhas. We have examples amongst men, at least a portion of it, within the realm of men. Never despising Bodhisattva, described in the 20th chapter of the Lotus Sutra, never despising Bodhisattva, pressed his hands together in respect and bowed to anyone he met, because whenever the Bodhisattva saw a man, he saw a Buddha in him. Born to the human world, Prince Siddhartha, young Shakyamuni, became the Buddha. This evidence should be enough to convince you to believe that the realm of Buddhas exists in the realm of men. This was the whole point of Shakyamuni's enlightenment, right? And with that, we'll then move to chapter 4, upholding the Lotus Sutra and attaining Buddhahood. So, I'll be excited to dive into that chapter in the next video with you. Thank you for participating in this. Chew on today's talk. Think about it. Questions arise, put them in the comments. Email me directly, tlksylvain@gmail.com. If we can look not only at ourselves as instantiating Buddha in our minds, we might try an exercise as we course through our day of every individual we see as having Buddha nature, whether they're instantiating it or not. Through that lens, especially through our interactions, are they behaving with their Buddha nature? Do they know it or do they not? It is no doubt there. Am I the recipient of others' Buddha nature? Make those observations as often as you can during your day. And I guarantee you, by end of day, you will know that your Buddha nature exists. You will want to chant simply to instantiate your Buddha nature. But what a glorious exercise to help you understand Buddha as in all life forms. Yes? A thought to take you through your day. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I will let you go now, and I cannot wait to get into this next chapter with you. Until then, take care of your health. Be kind. Keep your practice strong. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.